Alright, so in this module, we are just really going to talk about services and processes. And this is just so important for us to also know, to also understand in our course of study of ethical hacking and also in studying Linux specifically. So services and processes are those programs that actually runs in the background of a system. So they are not actually programs. They might not be visible for you through graphical user interface, but they mostly are services that runs in the background, and it's very essential for us to go ahead and know how we are going to stop them, we are going to kill them, we are going to start them, we are going to do all sort of things like that, which is so essential. So let's just go ahead and dive right into there. I think in future there's still where we are going to learn how to start and stop services, but here we're just going to get an introductory view about services, what they are, how we can view them, how we can view the processes running our system, and so on. Let's just go ahead and dive right in. So at first, we are all familiar with task manager within what's called within Windows system already, which shows some tasks that are running on our system. As you can see, all these tasks are actually running. And if you look at something the here that I want to explain, so we have the process ID. So this is actually the identity of the process on the system. So for this, for example, you see we have a WPS presentation slide, which is actually this our slide that we are using. So which means this our slide itself is a process itself, and when we check it from the task manager, is having process ID of 12131. Okay, so we have PPID, which is the parent process ID. So the parent process ID is also important for us to actually understand that. So the process that created this process, so is having the process ID of one itself. So well, which is actually why we need to get to understand something here. So whenever a process is created, it's always have a parent process that starts it. For example, now I I started this from WPS itself, which is a process. So which means that the parent process that created WPS, this also inherited from it, and that is with the process ID of one. Okay, so we have the state here. The state shows what is doing. Maybe it's I do. I means for I do. So if it is running, it give us S. It puts the S symbol on it. It is okay. If it is I do, which means it is I do, like we are not doing on nothing on it. It's just there. um if it's actually the S means, I think it means something like maybe it's static or something, so it's not really functional. If it is running, I think it's going to give us R symbol. Where is R? Okay, you can see this task manager is running presently. It's going to give us R like that. And the reason why the presentation we are having right here, you can see the mouse where I'm putting is putting like the, where is it? It's is it I do or is running, or what do we have? Yeah, okay, it said it's static. The reason why it's static is that you can see it's actually staying in one place, and because I'm not touching it, the moment I start touching it and I try traversing from one to another, you can see it's going to change. But due to the fact that I've already stopped, we are not be able we might not be able to catch up with that without change. So it's back to static now. And so that's what I want to show you. So what if we want to kill this process? All we have to do is just to identify the process ID. So we have 12131. Then we can open our command line and send a signal to it. So we can say kill 121 then 31, and you can see immediately it killed this is our presentation we are running, and we can no longer find it. Here we can no longer find it except we go back. It said sorry, have a problem has occurred, and that is because we've already killed most of all the process already. So let me just fire it up again. To get a familiar introduction setting up. Okay, I think that's where it is. All right, so uh, that is how to, okay, so there we are here. All right, so it's back up again there. If you go to task manager again, you can see is already back with another process ID like that. So this is how to kill a process. That's how to send a signal to a process, which is so important. Also, if you want to view the process, what if you don't have the task manager there for you, and we want to view the process that are running in our system, we can use a command called ps. And if you remember from last video, you can say what is ps. So what is ps? If you don't know what is ps, I will press enter. Okay, that's just coming up, so embarrassing. So it said report a snapshot of the current processes. So that is actually what it's doing. And if you type PS alone, it just returned a snapshot of the current process. What if you want to have something more, like we want to actually view all the processes in the system? We want to be able to view it in a format that the tax manager viewed. So we can just save ourselves and say man. You remember the man page from the last videos we did? Man PS, sorry, PS, not PA, man PS. And it give us some ton of information. It say to see every process on the system using standard syntax, you can use PS tag E or PS tag EF, PS tag E capital letter F and ELF. So what we can do is just open another terminal from here, and we can do PS tag E as said. So this lists all the processes that is running in our system. Um, don't be too this thing if you don't understand all these guys. So this is actually fireware and some built-in processes that is being running by the system. This is progress QL is a database system, and this is we have our DNS. This is a domain name service mask running. So it's a server which actually we actually have it running, and this is how you can view some processes that is running. Even you can see even this command process that we executed is even a process itself. And if you look at all this place, say it's running on PST1, this one is running on TTY2, which means that they are running on terminal. This is TTY2 is actually the graphical user interface. So this is it, they are running on graphical user interface. The Firefox, so we have a Firefox running, so that's it right there. Firefox is running, sorry, then all stuff like that. And it's just essential for us to understand. Let's see what we can do. So tag E to view every process on the system using BSD syntax. We can use PS star AX or star AXU. So let's use that. Let's see PS star AX. I think so. You can see this is actually this format seems to be nice, to be alright. It gives us the full directory. Let me see the full location of the service that is running. You can see it provide more information like that. So let's try the other one. So that is px tags tag AXU like that. So okay, let's see through. So px tag, sorry, it doesn't have tag, that's AXU. Wow, this syntax is really more. So this, if you look at this syntax, is actually more or less like the one from the tax manager, because number one, it gives us the user that is running this. So the root user is actually the one that is running this process, which is not us. I think the root user is running them to keep tracks of the information within our system. And then the progress user, this is another user that is running this program, is running progress QL. That's the progress user. Then we Gabriel ourselves, you can see we have some informations. We are god daemon, we are running, we have a lot of tons of processes that the Gabriel itself is running. And you can see this process that we run, which is px, we actually the one that is running it, and Gabriel is actually running what's called bash right now. What I want to show you is that if you look at this feed, it's the user feed. This is the process ID of it. I think all this information are up there. That'll take forever. Are up there. So this is the PID, the amount of CPU that we are using. So this is the percent. All these ones are using 0. You can see they are not using any memory at all from the CPU. They are not using any of our CPU. Then the memory, which is actually the RAM itself, this one is using 0.2% of the memory, and you can see the percent of the memory that we are using. Then the terminal at which they are running, probably maybe in the console or the graphical user interface, the start hour, the time that it has been running, and the command that it is running. So it is very important for us to understand what process is. And that's it. I just want to give you the brief of how you can start a process and kill a process. Let me just do another one example to clarify this thing up. Let's start a process. So don't worry if you don't understand ping. Let's say ping 127.no.no.1, and this is just going to continue to ping this 127.no.1. So if we open another new tab from here, I will say process. So if you remember AXU, I'm looking for that command ping, if I can find it. So that we are going to stop it here. You can see we are running a process that execute a command ping 10 something like that, and you can see the process has the process ID of this number. If I copy this guy, so I'm just going to copy selection, and I'm going to say kill this process. So I'm going to press it right there. So 13229. Once I kill it, it should be able to kill it from here. You can see it said terminated. Then we are able to kill this process that is running from there. So that is how we can send the signal to process. There are a lot of signals that we can send to process. If you do man kill, so man kill is going to show us more information about kill. It says send the signal to a process, and it says the process ID. The syntax is we we issue the queue command, then the options, then followed by the process ID. And the options are the options that we have. We can see tag s for the signal, we can tag l, we can list name signals, so to list all the kind of signals we have. We can tag table, list signal tables or thing. You can just check this up or by yourself to understand more and more in depth about processes in Linux. Okay, so let's just end this story right here. So because I don't want the video to be long, I just want you to understand that there are processes in Linux system that are running. There are tons of there. In fact, okay, probably when we move to networking command, I'm going to show you how you can show some services, some network services or networks processes that is running within your system. So see the next tutorial, please.